Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at kcaaradio.com.
KCAA.
Working in the margins. Dealing with our challenges, assessing needs, and finding solutions. Short-term, mid-range, and long-term. Solutions can find us working in the margins. Today's world is a tough baseline. It's more difficult than ever to just exist or get by. And it's not getting any easier. Moving forward in today's world has become both an art and a science. Food, clothing, temporary shelter, long-term housing, short-term jobs, temporary employment, or long-range careers. It all takes some help and finesse. Not everyone can do it. It's an art and a science. And let's face it, not everyone is a scientist. Some people need more help than others. The basics like reliable transportation, internet, laundry, a regular shower, even water, those basics we all take for granted. Electricity, these are the challenges of those caught in the net. Are homeless, unhoused, housing challenged, living in the margins. People of all ages, young, middle-aged, senior citizens, entire families, male, female, all reasons and all walks of life. Anyone can find themselves living in the margins. Homelessness and the challenges that go with it are not going away, and we can't ignore them. It's just too expensive. We've got to do better. Take the next step forward. Tune in now and listen to Working in the Margins.
Hello, San Bernardino, Inland Empire. This is Shazette. This is your weekly radio show, a family assistance program, Working in the Margins. So, last week I think I started talking to you all about Second Chance Month. April is Second Chance Month. And because family assistance, we do a lot of work around reentry. It's a very empowering month for us. We are super supportive of folks getting second chances, having second chances, finding second chances, and creating them. So I am happy to be here. I have some awesome guests today, so y'all gonna be jealous. I tell you that every week, right? I tell you you're gonna be jealous of this conversation. So I have Mr. Anthony Jordan. He's from Young Visionaries. He's a person with lived experience. He's going to share a little bit about himself. And then I have Miss Yvette Abreu. She's from Family Assistance Program, and she also has lived experience. And she is our agency life coach. So we are going to be blessed by some wisdom, some guidance, and some information from Miss Yvette. I also have a client here that's formerly incarcerated, a person with lived experience, and I'm going to introduce you to her, Miss Alexis, later on in the show. So it's all about second chances here today, folks. I want to ask you, community, have you ever benefited from a second chance that changed your life? Have you ever been able to offer assistance or empower someone with second chance opportunities in your life that you may value that experience? Did you value that experience, and what was it? I want you to tap in. I want you to give me a call if you want to share your story. We're on KCAA, of course, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and you can call in on our listener line at 909-383-1000 if you want to share a second chance moment that you've had that changed your life. I've had many. I feel like I had a second chance this morning when I woke up. I had a lot of second chances, very valuable second chances. I've had second chance at life a couple of times. Just some health issues, second chances come in all kinds of forms and shapes and supports and empowerment. And I'll tell you, I felt that I received a second chance that got me into this work. Okay, started me on this path, doing social services, working with the marginalized communities here in San Bernardino County. I've been doing it a long time. But my second chance came after my second round of cancer. And boy, it was tough, and I didn't know, I was grateful that I was still here and I was in remission, and I was, and I used that opportunity to really refocus myself, my work, my intentions, um, my mission, my life. I felt very, very grateful that I was allowed to continue to be here and to live and be relatively healthy about it. And there was a lot of work. I just kind of fell into this work with social services and the homeless. Um, and then I devoted my life to it because I was so appreciative of my second chance that I wanted to devote my life to giving folks a second chance at, coming out of their struggles, their homelessness, their abuse, if they were victims of crime, former foster youth that have been traumatized and things like that. So that's where my second chance, one of them, has led me, is actually in to do this work, and I'm grateful for that because I love this work and I love people, um, and I think everybody. I think there's probably a thing like third chances and fourth chances, and if that's the thing, then I think that a lot of us have already. So I love. Sometimes it don't work on the first chance or the second chance, and you need a third chance and a fourth chance. And I am always willing um, to pursue those options with people that we serve. Sometimes it may not take the first time or the second time. So I have enjoyed working in the reentry world of work, working with the formerly incarcerated. Um, some of the most appreciative clients we have, some of the most motivated, educated. We got a lot of folks that are educated. They come out and they have degrees and they have certifications and they have curriculums that they developed inside, that they are transferring to the outside to help the people that they work with. I think it is amazing that people who have done some kind of time in our penal system here in California or anywhere want to come out and help other people that are formerly incarcerated, or some of them they've done time with them. They came out of the same institutions. So to be able to want to go back and help somebody else, um, that is God's work to me. It's empowering, and I just want to. I want to thank everybody at Family Assistance that is a person with lived experience, um, and people just that I know that I work with in this world of the continuum of care. All these nonprofits out there, and keep your heads up, folks, because it's getting harder to do what we do with this government out there doing some wild stuff. I was about to say the S word. So doing some wild stuff. They're messing with our funds. I think it's all a money grab. I'm gonna be serious. I'm gonna tell you how I feel about this. It's a money grab. I feel this the folks that are running things over there, these Doge people, all of it's a money grab, and they're going after the most marginalized. I got an email from our Office of Homeless Services earlier this week, maybe late last week, saying that the government has set up a task force to go after nonprofits for waste, fraud, and abuse, basically. Waste, fraud, and abuse. Nonprofits, and they were going to drill down, they're going to find these perpetrators, and they're going to bring them to justice. All that is a money grab. And they're taken from the most marginalized people. They're taken from the folks that we are trying to help. We're trying to keep some of these folks in housing, and they've earned it. We're trying to keep them in housing. We're trying to keep them fed. We're trying to keep them employed. And sometimes they need extra assistance in order to get there. And this Doge, and I don't know who else over there is making these decisions, but they're not right. They're not right in the head. They're not right for our communities. We should not be penalizing nonprofits that do the work on the streets and in our communities. So we need to get vocal, community in San Bernardino. We need to get vocal, and we need to tell these federal folks it's hands off our money that we need to take care of these folks in the community that we work with every day. I'm going to take a break right now. When I come back, I'm going to bring my guest on. It's going to be a good conversation. See you in a minute.
This is KCAA.
Tahibo Tea Club's original Pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea helps build red corpuscles in the blood which carry oxygen to our organs and cells. Our organs and cells need oxygen to regenerate themselves. The immune system needs oxygen to develop, and cancer dies in oxygen. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system, and it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TahiboTeaClub.com. Tahibo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea and then the word club. The complete website is TahiboTeaClub.com, or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TahiboTeaClub.com.
KCAA,
where life's much better. So download the app in your smart device today. Listen everywhere and anywhere. Whether you're in Southern California, Texas, or sailing on the Gulf of Mexico, life's a breeze with KCAA. Download the app in your smart device today.
I'll be sailing out of yesterday in the Gulf of Mexico.
Galaxy Dispensary reminds everyone during these challenging times the importance of mental health, with a focus on wellness and offering daily deals on everything from top quality flowers to edibles and so much more. Plant Galaxy's goal is to help you win the battle within. As one of Riverside's most beautiful wellness shops on Center Street, visit plantgalaxy.net. That's plantgalaxy.net, or call 951-900-5011. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
KCAA.
Hello, San Bernardino, Inland Empire. This is Shazette. This is Working in the Margins, and this is the Family Assistance Weekly Radio Show podcast. We are on KCAA 1050 AM 106.5 FM, and we come to you from the beautiful downtown building of Teamsters Local 1932. We are on 4th and Sierra. We're in the Kamek building, and they have been doing a lot of work over here with the studios and getting it all ready. And they're also getting ready. I'm going to talk about this event real quick before I talk to my friends. The teams, I'm going to talk about it again at the end of the show, but the Teamsters are having their 6th annual Spring Fling Car Show and Cruise, April 12th. It's from 9 to 3. Roll-in is at 7, if y'all know what a roll-in is, and that's at 7, okay? That's 2 hours before the event starts. They're expecting a lot of cars. So there's it's free general admission. There's going to be raffles and vendors and trophies. In-N-Out is going to be on scene. They got a little In-N-Out there, and it's benefiting the youth of our communities. There's lots of wonderful sponsors, but Teamsters is the host. So yeah, check it out. And I'm going to put this flyer. I'm going to tag it on my hashtag Working in the Margins with Z. On all the socials, I got Facebook, Instagram, all that. So Working in the Margins with Z, where you'll be able to find more information. So, okay. So welcome, Anthony. How are you? I'm good. Hello, Yvette.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well,
It's been
thank
a
you.
long time coming with Yvette because we've been working together for over almost going on 2 years now. And I've been doing this show since last year sometime. So I've been trying to get her and bring her on. But as I said before the break, this is Second Chance Month and Family Assistance Program. We are big on second chances. We do have a very strong and robust reentry program. And we hire and we staff our programs with people with lived experience. Anthony is from Young Visionaries, and you all know my friend Terrence Stone. He's the CEO of the Young Visionaries. So I want to say thank you, Terrence, for loaning me your dude. So I've known Tone almost just as long because I started in youth services, and Tone was one of the first people that I met from Young Visionaries that was doing street outreach over around youth services over when we were over on 7th. Is it 7th? Yeah, I think 7th in Arrowhead. Yeah, and you used to come around and used to talk to us and get our resources, and you were out talking to them kids. So how you doing, sir?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Good, I'm glad. So Tone has already told me that he's shy and he's you know, and all that stuff. And y'all know me. I'm like, that's not gonna last for long. So, but I just want you tell me a little bit about your experience, how you came to this work, sir.
My name is Anthony Jordan. As she said, I am the program coordinator for violence and prevention at Young Visionaries. In the spirit of Second Chance Month, I'd like to say thank God for second chances.
Amen.
I do come from a background that I was system impacted. I did approximately 36 years of my life, from 16 till 52.
You don't have to tell nobody how old you are because you don't look 52.
I'm 58, actually, on the 17th of this month.
Don't you love it?
Thank
Black don't
God,
crack.
thank
Black
God.
don't crack.
And what led me to this work is I was 16 again when
kid.
unfortunately I made choices and decisions that led me to prison, and there was nobody there to try to correct my former thinking. There was a lot of individuals there to encourage the negatives, and I swallowed them up as a youngster and destroyed my life for a minute. Wound up going to prison with 27 years to life. Again, I did 36 years off of that. I'm real passionate about this work, about giving back, especially to youngsters, because I don't want to be that person who walks by them knowing the truth and not reveal the truth to them.
Right.
I don't want to be that person who walks past them without trying to correct a mind state or just drop a jewel, something
Right.
that they can, that maybe may resonate with them and change, the course of their life
Right.
in a positive way, though.
Right.
So, that's what led me to,
That's awesome.
the trauma and other things, childhood trauma, involvement in gangs, dysfunction at the household, and all of that kind of like pushed me in the direction that I went in.
You had an experience with all this already.
Yeah.
I want to ask Yvette, first Yvette, I feel like everybody knows Yvette. But what people may not know about Yvette is her background, where she came from, and and sometimes that's the motivating piece, right? Isn't that the motivating piece, where you came from, for some folks, because they know where you are, they see you where you are. So, Yvette, tell me how share a little bit about your background, and tell me why it was important for you to come out, and then to go back in to work with the folks that you work with.
First, I want to start by saying thank you for having me as well.
You're welcome. I love having you guys here.
Well, for my situation, I went in prison when I was 23 and I didn't get out till I was 40. But prior to going to prison, I was a homeless youth. I ran away from home because my gender was under scrutiny. And in that in running away, I had to learn to survive, which got me into a lot of things that I shouldn't have ventured into, but I had no direction, I had no guidance. The only things that were said to me were things of, you would fail, you will end up here, you're never going to strive, you're never going to achieve anything in life. But there was never any role model for me. So I did the only thing that I could, and that was survive. And with that, when I went into the prison system, I realized that I wasn't the only one that identified like that.
Right.
That the majority of us came from similar situations.
Right.
And we didn't have anybody there. So that got me to think. And the closer I got to getting out, when my time started to come close, I decided then and there that I was going to continue, because as in the prison system, I was a peer health educator. And I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the empowerment for my peers. So when I was about to get out, I was like, I want to do this for a living.
Oh, I love that story.
So
I do. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you both, because I know that it's not easy sometimes to share your background. But we should get more comfortable sharing our backgrounds, because sometimes the empowerment comes from the knowledge that we overcame. We survived it. You know, I am a breast health navigator, breast health specialist, and it was important to me to give back to that community. So I started educating myself on what, I needed to be able to, appropriate, how I felt sufficiently give back. And that was to educate myself and become a breast health survivor. So you all have kind of done the same thing. You've gone through something. You've been through some trauma. It's changed you, but you said, I want to give back. I want to go back out there and I want to give back. Tone, I want you to tell me, what challenges did you face when you were coming back into the community that you still see as you are helping other people that we need to work on as a community?
The biggest thing that I found challenging coming back out here is just the lack of knowledge, not knowing about resources and options, and in a way being afraid to ask. It's just like when you've been in there so long, at least for me, you just kind of like get used to not asking for help and try to navigate processes by yourself. But coming back into society, trying to reacclimate yourself in a productive way, you have to have help. I had to humble myself and learn how to reach out and try to find resources and stuff that I ran into a big problem initially coming out, where I couldn't get identification or anything. I come to find out that someone had been me longer than I had been me. Identity fraud.
Man.
So that was a big thing as far as falling back into the old traits, because then I had a whole lot of idle time on my hands.
Right.
And I had to figure out something to do with that idle time, or I would drift, back in directions that I need not drift in. So I started volunteering everywhere I could. Volunteering everywhere I could. Just to, and it took a year for me to get this identity thing solved.
Wow,
so I had to,
a year.
Yeah, so I left the home every day, left the halfway house every day like I was going to a job, and I just volunteered and just did positive things. All for that whole year, I did this. Just so I would have a structured program that would lead me back down a dark path. So it's many obstacles that you're going to come to, but the biggest problem I ran into was not knowing about options and having the fear of asking for help.
Right. Wow. Yvette, how important is it for our clients to be able to get those resources to prevent recidivism? It's like to get a job right away and to get health care right away, and how important is that?
Well, it's important when you look at it from this perspective. A group of individuals like myself, generally speaking, we start to change our mindset, do things different, change our habits, and become individuals that we're meant to be. But when we come out and we find that it's not what we're used to, then it becomes difficult. So it's important to keep motivated, just like anybody. If you're on a diet or if you're on a health kick, you can't stop for a year and expect to be doing your push-ups the way you do. Right. So you have to continue this path. A lot of people don't understand that. But the biggest challenge, I don't know if you asked me that, but the biggest challenge I saw was technology.
Okay, explain that.
Well,
because I've heard that a lot.
Yes, well, so when I went in, there were pagers.
Hey,
so that should explain a lot. There were pagers and there were beepers, but then you come out to a world where there's machines talking to you, where you have to do scanning and things like that, and it's very intimidating. The devices are very intimidating because it's something that we didn't have access to. Right. So I think that is a struggle for many of us who come out, and it's not noticed enough. People, in my opinion, think, well, they should already know. Yes. But they don't dive in deep enough to understand that concept.
Somebody asked me that one time too. They asked me about folks coming out, and they were like, well, what do you do with them? And I said, we start at the beginning, and then we walk them through. I says, and that is sometimes teaching them how to, use transportation, public transport. Some folks don't know what Uber is. They don't know what, these little cell phones we got right now, these are little computers. You could launch a rocket ship from an iPhone if you wanted to. And we have phones, like you said, we used to have pagers and beepers, and all we had to remember is to put in 911 and 611 upside down and, all of that in order to get somebody attention. So I can understand, and they were like, well, why don't they know? Don't they have these things, or don't they know? And I was like, y'all watch too much TV. Not everybody in prison has a secret cell phone. So...
And if they do, they have to hide it.
They have to
so
hide
they can't openly learn.
Right. And I don't, the World Wide Web, the internet in itself is a beast to navigate.
It is.
Tell me, Tone, when you are working with the kids, what are you telling them so that they don't even think about trying to go down the path of...
I'm very tactful and tasteful, but I'm very direct. Because I don't want them to misconceive anything that I'm saying, but I want them at the same time to get everything that I'm saying.
Yes.
I'm very intentional.
Yes.
Because you're dealing with young lives.
Right.
You're dealing with most young people that think they know everything. They're exposed to a lot, speaking of electronics. Everything's at their fingertips.
Immediate gratification for everything.
So I talk to them and I tell them the truth. Those that's caught up in the streets and gangs and stuff like that, I tell them the truth. The first thing I want them to understand, and I really want them to understand this, is the difference between existing and living. When you're caught up in a gang, you're existing because you're placing limitations on yourself. You can't go nowhere. And I flip the other side and let them know that when you're not a part of that, you're living. There's no restriction. The world is yours.
Right.
So you have to, decide that. And I try to get them to change I try to provoke thought every time I encounter them.
That's awesome. I love that.
To provoke thought. Because most of them don't think. Youngsters are very, just like I was 16, I was very impulsive. I was very reactionary. I thought I knew everything and knew nothing.
Low impulse
control. But you couldn't tell me that, right? You couldn't tell me that I didn't know anything. So I try to make them aware of the fact that, man, you're very young and you got a whole lot of living left to do.
Yes.
And life is real simple. I like to believe it's simple. It's all about choices and decisions. Those are the two things that you're going to be faced with lifelong. Choices and decisions. Yeah. But you want to make more positive ones than negatives. Right. Because one comes with consequences and one don't. And that's what I like to point out to them, that be conscious of decisions that you make. Be conscious of who you surround yourself with. Because it's consequences.
Repercussions and consequences. Repercussions and consequences.
It definitely is.
And I believe that too. My mom used to always say, her job was to make sure that her children didn't walk in the same pitfalls that she walked in, that she tried to educate us and let us know the tricks of the trade and try to, and I feel most of the time when I'm working with clients and doing direct services that's what I'm doing. I'm just sharing tricks of the trade, baby. How to stay here and be in this game for 58. I'm going to be 58 too next month. How to stay in this game. Sometimes it's not about, being new or being innovative. It's just, keep your head down sometimes. You just keep your head down, plow ahead, focus, set some goals, keep quiet, Yvette, what are you telling your folks about some of the, initial, this is what we need to do. We don't need to go back. We don't need to slip back into bad ways. What are you telling folks? What are you sharing with folks?
Well, initially when the client, our clients come out, I am very honest with them, and I let them know right off the top, we're not dealing with the same type of environment as we came from, which means we come from an environment that everybody understands where to, how to act in a way where they're respectful to everybody. Well, they're entering a world where a lot of people don't see it that way, and they may have run into a few people that will poke the bear.
Yes.
And so what I try to do is I try to get them, I get them ready so they don't have to get ready. Yeah. I prepare them before the monster comes out in somebody else, right, so that it kind of withholds their own, bears that they put to sleep. And right, so that's the first thing that I do. I let them know the truth about the reality out here in society.
Yeah, I think that's real important, is that we be honest, and that I feel like every day I wake up with a new realization of something that's going on that I have to adjust to. Mm-hmm. That I have, as a 50-year-old black woman in San Bernardino County for most of my life, that I have to adjust to. I have to adjust to some of the craziness that's going on in the government with these decisions that are affecting our jobs and our placements and our access. And I cannot imagine having to been like a former lifer. We have a few former lifers to come out and to have to navigate all this stuff right now, just right now, since January, without help. I can't imagine it. I just think it's almost crazy to ask, for them to, I went to a PAC meeting last week, and I have I just have a lot of people that, we work with and we see, and I consider them, really good colleagues and things like that. So I was with some of the ladies from probation, and they had done a shelter court in Barstow, was their last one. And they said it was the best one. It was the best one. I love the shelter course. It's something that I started in the city of Upland with some other people. They cleared 388, I believe, cases for people that had cases, misdemeanors, camping cases, things like that. 388. Now, those people they don't have any charges against them. They were either dropped or they got to do community service in order to get rid of them. Those cases were keeping them from resources. Mm. They were keeping them from resources. Now they are cleared and they are looking for resources, and they are justice impacting. What are we doing for them? What are we going to do for them? What are we going to do for them to keep talking to them, to keep them from getting back in trouble with the law? How are we? 388. Think about that number. There's 388 people. Mm-hmm. Are we ready for that? What are we telling them? Where would you start?
Well, speaking on like life coaching experience that I've had, or all the education I have, is I would highly suggest that we start looking at it as a community and teaching our mindsets, how to train our mindsets and develop. Because, like I was sharing with somebody earlier, is, by the time we get a certain age, there's a high percent, so at like 7, there's like 80%, 70% of who we are as an individual, our worth, at the age of 7. Mm-hmm. At the age of 10, 80 to 90% of our self-worth is already embedded in us. So we need to come together as a community and start developing mindsets that are empowered and not designed to strive and struggle.
Right.
And I think we need to change that culture.
We do.
We've had this culture for such a long time. And if you don't mind me saying, like, when I was growing up, I would I would watch shows that said, well, this is okay, good times. It's like they wanted us to embrace a reality that we're okay with, okay? We're alive. But I believe we should empower the individuals.
Exactly.
So that we become stronger.
Yes. Yes.
That's what I believe.
I believe that too. I absolutely believe that too. Tone, a lot of these folks are going to be young youth. They're not children. They're youth people, typically 18 to 24 or older. How can we reach them? What do we need to do? If I gave you $1 million right now, what would be the first thing that you would invest in to let these folks know that you don't have to go back that route? Here's a new way to go.
Information. Information that leads towards options and that provide a positive result if they pursue it. I would overload them with information. That's the biggest problem, is the lack of information.
Yes.
You got pockets of it that's being revealed, like speaking of the PAC meeting. That's a pocket, that's accessible and great. Not to undermine it, it's great for a person coming out. But the situation you was just talking about, all of them people may not fall in that category where they're on probation or parole.
Right.
So they're going to miss that.
Right.
Where's the information? Where's the options for them? So I would, invest it in
just for a
information.
misdemeanor heavy person. You got folks out there that got 5, 6, 10 misdemeanors.
Yeah.
So, and they don't have prison time. They don't have CDCR numbers or anything like that. But how do we even start to motivate them? Being involved in the justice system is not easy. It's terrible. It's terrible for probation, to be on probation, to be on parole, and to have to continue to jump through hoops. To me, it's still like, you're still have laws and rules like you were incarcerated, kind of, because you have to follow you have conditions of release. So you have, things that you have to do in order to maintain your freedom out here, even if you're, after you're out, We're going to take a break. This is a heavy conversation. I need to take a breath. And we're going to come back, and I'm going to bring Alexis to the table. So I'll be right back, San Bernardino.
KCAA Loma Linda.
One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377, extension 224.
It's going to be big. The 6th Annual Teamsters Local 1932 Spring Fling Car Show and Cruise, coming Saturday, April 12th. The Teamsters take over downtown San Bernardino at 4th and Sierra Way with row after row of beautiful cars, classic cars, roadsters, you name it. It all takes place next to the Teamsters headquarters. Come see Teamsters Thunder, SoCal Teamsters Car Club, and your favorite Teamsters, Teamsters 1932. The cruising starts at 9 a.m. and goes to 3 p.m. on March 12th. Cool prizes, raffles, vendors, trophies, music, and great food. No charge or admission for the entire community. You can register your cars free, too, at Teamsters1932.org. That's Teamsters1932.org. For more info, call Lucky at 909-967-6760 and get ready to cruise in downtown San Bernardino.
The staff and families at Yard House of Temecula takes this time out to recognize and salute the local men and women in uniform standing tall for our political and economic freedom around the world. Let's always remember them in our thoughts and prayers. Their efforts abroad and our support has kept America strong. This message, courtesy of your good friends at Yard House of Temecula at 40770 Winchester Road in Temecula. They are always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
KCAA.
Located in the heart of San Bernardino, California.
Hey, San Bernardino. This is Shazette with Working in the Margins. This is our weekly radio show on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. You can find us on KCAA Radio, KCAA TV, on the YouTubes, on the YouTube. Yeah. This will be out, this little video, it comes out later. So we've been having a good conversation about reentry, what that work looks like, formerly incarcerated folks. And let me share something, community, with you. And I know I've shared this before in past shows. Why reentry work is important now, and why we continue to fund reentry work, stabilization, formerly incarcerated stabilization, because this country, California specifically, is moving more toward releasing people for low-level crimes. So mostly that's marijuana. There's a lot of people coming out. It's been the governor's mission since he kind of took over, to close and reduce the population in our prisons of our low-level offenders, especially the ones around marijuana. Because everybody knows, I think marijuana is legal here, and we still have folks in prison behind a gram, an ounce, and that doesn't make sense, you know, because you can go around the corner, down the street, across the street, down the block, get a gram or an ounce, and it's legal. Nobody's going to stop you. Now, if you try to sell more than that, you're going to be in trouble. But we, and hey, I'm all for it, because a lot of those are, those offenders, former offenders, are black and brown people. Black and brown people. It's a lot of women in there that was carrying for their dude, and now it's legal. You have some horticulturists, some agricultural folks in prison that was growing and selling, that could come out and make a really good living, because it's changed. That has changed in this state and in this country. And we need to be ready for those people, because those people are coming to our communities, coming back into our communities. I got family that's coming back into this community. I know many of you out there in the world, in the community, in San Bernardino and the IE, you have family that is going to be coming back to you in your communities, because they were low-level offenders, nonviolent offenders in our penal system. So it's important that we continue. So I want to ask both of you, hold on a second. Alexis, are you ready?
Yes.
Come on, and walk behind me to your chair over here. Or you want to slide down? Y'all know I don't care about no formality stuff, right? It's every week, huh? Like she be moving the people around. I don't care. The message is the message, so how we do it is I don't care. So, hi, Alexis.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Here, I'm gonna turn this to you a little bit so you can.
Yeah,
so
I'm
you
good.
can hear. Good. So first of all, this is unexpected because I like to do unexpected things, and I like to give people a chance. Y'all know how I feel about this table. I'm gonna bring as many people here, as many of my friends here, to this table to give them an opportunity to talk because that's what I have been given is the opportunity to do this and to share this with the community. And each and every one of you here today has something that you are contributing to the community that you want to contribute, and you have lessons that I need my community to hear from you about what it's like. I want to ask you, Alexis, to just tell me in a few words, as comfortable as you want to, because I kind of just said, "Come on, Alexis, and come on the show and tell me what you know." But I want you to tell us a little bit about your history, just nothing, only as much as you feel comfortable, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to ask you, have you faced any discrimination or stigma since you've been out?
I have, and that's sad.
It is.
I was in Dee Dee's, and it was the first time that I came out. And first, let me thank you for letting me be here.
Oh my
First,
goodness!
I
No,
just jumped
it's
right in
my
that.
honor. It's my honor.
So I was in Dee Dee's, and I had a. It was my first Starbucks. Disaster. So it was my first Starbucks, and it wasn't what he said, it was how he said it. You know, and me, I had anxiety bad, still do.
Me too.
I take medication for it. So he was like really rude about, hey, you can't bring that in here. And I felt singled out. I felt he was rude about it.
In Dee Dee's?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's my own judgment. Sorry, y'all. Go ahead.
And so I went through these feelings,
I bet.
and I worked through them. And I was able to just say, okay, well, my bad, we took it back to the car, and I just left it in there. But I went in there. The second time I went in there, my anxiety was through the roof. I could not shop. So we had to exit stage left real fast. So yes, that was one thing that I went through when I surfaced.
Yeah, that's not cool. How long? Well, tell me a little bit about what your experience was. How old were you?
I was 24, and 2 weeks from my 25th birthday when I got arrested. And I paroled on December 5th of 24. So I did 29 years and a lot of change. So it was scary for me to come out because I've done so much time in Chowchilla that it was comfortable for me. I was somebody in there. I was Bear Mother. So coming out here, having survivor's guilt, because all the people that I grew up with are still there.
Right. Right.
A few people came with me, and I was grateful for that.
Right.
And I didn't know that this was the second chance month, and I'm eternally grateful for my second chance. It was hard for me to get it because of my behavior, and the first 15 years was pretty traumatic, and then the last 15, I fought to get out. And I wanted to go. My dad was getting sick, and he kept getting gravely sick, then he'd get better. And he had made me a promise one time, and he said, I told him, Daddy, just promise me that you're going to be there when I get there. That's all I ask. So he was suffering. In his mind, my dad was awesome. He didn't break promises. He just didn't. So 3 times he got sick. And the last time they were the first time they were pulling a plug, so he was really bad. But he started getting Alzheimer's, and he'd be moving these little rocks around like Grandma used to, and he was babbling. He was getting dementia, so he was babbling, and he was like, "Yeah, I promised Ree, and my sister was like, it was really an issue for him. So she goes, "Daddy, what did you promise Ree?" And he goes, "Yeah, I just promised. I promised her." So she got on GTL and she messaged me a 911, and my heart just sank when I got it. So I called home, and she said, "What did Daddy promise you?" I said that he'd be there when I get there. And she goes, "Sister, he is just bad. You need to call him." And that was just the most dreadful thing that I could think of. And I was like, "I'll do it tomorrow." So tomorrow I called him. It was a good day. He knew who I was. And I just told him, I said, "Daddy, if you are tired and you need to travel the wind, I'm okay with that. I love you. And I'm here to make you a promise. If you go home, I promise you I still will parole." And the next day my dad left on the 23rd of May, and I was going to board July 25th.
Oh.
So I had no time to really grieve. And so that July I got found suitable, and I kept my promise to my father. And I made a commitment.
He kept his promise to you too.
He did?
He was there.
He was. The whole time.
He was there.
I wanted for nothing.
I know.
My daddy was
You're gonna
my
make
hero.
me cry, because I can't imagine. I was there to be able to. I was there when my father passed away in November, and I can't imagine anything that would have kept me from him, or him transitioning. And it breaks my heart. I'm not gonna cry because we have a good. We got 3 minutes. Eric just gave me the 3 minutes. We got 3 minutes, and I want each of you to tell me something. But what I want you to tell me, Alexis, is what are you doing now? What are you doing for us now that you have been working on to help folks? Because I'm excited about your curriculum.
Yeah, I have, using the 12 steps, I created a curriculum called Stepping Out Your Crime. And I did a lot of step work inside. And so I worked the steps according to my crime. And I had a Thompson term as well inside. And it was ugly. I pled out. But in that, I created a curriculum also for sex offenders.
Awesome.
Because I am one. But they are both advanced insight groups designed to find what your character defects are, and then in your 7th step, write it out in your crime as it played out. And it will help you get the triggers from the defects and behavior from that. And then if you can't see it, you can't fix it.
Awesome. Okay, we have 1 minute. There's something I want us to do, because Anthony Jordan, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Time
Nice
went
to
by
meet
so
you.
quick. Miss Yvette, always. And y'all gonna come back, okay? But I want us to do something right now to Alexis, because she's still in program with us. I want us to tell Alexis that you can do this, and we love you, and you can do this, and you are doing it.
Thank you.
And I want you to come back, and I want you to keep talking, and let folks know that this is what success looks like. This is what a re-entry person looks like. You came back out to give back to your community.
I did.
This is who we should be uplifting and supporting and empowering. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. all of you. This has been a very, very touching show for me. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of all of you and the work that you do for our reentry population. San Bernardino, that's it. Thank you. It's been great. I'll be back next week with the new show. Again, if you have looking for resources, look for Working in the Margins with Z on all the social media. This is going to drop on YouTube, Working in the Margins. And thank you for allowing us all to come into your, wherever you're watching this. Have a great, great week and a great weekend. And don't forget about the car show for the Teamsters. Don't forget.
NBC News on KC.